Hi, I'm Philip Howard. I'm the founder of Common Good, a nonpartisan government reform group. I'm speaking from my home because, like most of us, I've been isolated by the virus. But the virus teaches us something. It's a wake-up call. The reason it spread through the country is because public health officials were delayed by over a month while they waded through the red tape of Washington to get approvals to start testing. Now, that's a tragedy, but it also tells us something about our system of government. It's in serious need of a spring cleaning, not to get rid of government, but to make it work effectively. And what's needed here is a system that's simple, that people can understand, and that gives people the freedom to roll up their sleeves and get the job done. And we've created a system of government that for teachers and doctors and nurses, really everyone, doesn't allow that to happen. So we need to get together and start a movement to make government work for the people again. That's what we're going to talk about in this video, and I hope we can get your help. What's unusual about where we are in America today is how frustrated everyone is on both sides. American frustration with government has never been higher.
I think that the biggest differences in this country that can move us forward are actually around nonpartisan issues, around the efficiency within how government operates, and just returning common sense to the way government operates.
One of the issues, I could say the biggest issue I see in government today is fixation on rule following and on compliance, on never ever making a mistake at which someone could call gotcha. And therefore that little practical work ever really occurs, or if it does, it takes many times longer.
So for me, the real question about institutions and progress is, how do you create organizations that unleash the power of people to work together around big ideas and to accomplish big things?
For most of us, the problem is not what government does. We all want clean air and good health care, but how government does it. There seems to be red tape everywhere, thicker every year, and fear of lawsuits. There are 1,000-page rule books. There are dictates from the employer saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't be yourself. And the problem is it not only makes us feel personally bad, it actually makes it so that things don't work. The teachers have lost control of the classroom. Doctors and nurses are spending much of the day filling out forms that nobody reads. And it's raising the cost of healthcare. It's really affecting our society because people no longer feel they have the right to do what's right.
Yes, I mean, one of the biggest problems I have as a doctor is dealing with all the paperwork and regulatory requirements that are imposed on me by insurers and the hospital, when really what I and most doctors want to do is just take care of our patients.
It's hard to be a parent now because first of all, we're getting warnings from everybody and everything, and the internet is crazed with fear, but also you don't want to go to jail. And we've heard stories about normal parents letting their kids do normal things being investigated for neglect.
Things got so complicated almost without our noticing it because we tried to create a system that was better than people. We were going to write rules that not only told people what to do, but told them exactly how to do it.
Well, in the years that I've been here, it used to be about how to grow apples, and then it was all about how are we going to sell the product, and now it's all about how are we going to interface with all the regulatory agencies. We had an article in the New York Times that said there was over 5,000 rules and regulations that I had to comply with as a fruit farmer in New York State.
Then you have regulators who are coming here, who have gone through training, who are then explaining to you what the regulations mean. And you are kind of reliant on them. And the regulators don't themselves always exactly understand what the requirements are. I often say to them, can I just get a list of what I need to do? And they say no.
Most people think government's too big to fix. It's just too complicated. And it's true that you can't wander into this jungle of red tape with pruning shears and make any sense of it. It's 150 million words of binding law and regulations. But why do we need a jungle of red tape? You don't need a 1,000-page rule book to do your job. You need goals, you need your principles, you need your skills, and then you go out and roll up your sleeves and get the job done. Well, that's true in government too.
Nothing in this universe works unless a human is free to make it work.
What we ought to be doing is establishing public outcomes that we think are important. How many roads get built, how many miles of cable get laid or broadband gets extended, but then liberate people from all the rules that have been written and all the prescriptions that have been imposed. In that system, a whole lot of roads would get built, people would get fed, workers would get trained for a better life, the work of government would be effective.
So at the end of the day, how do we fix this? Well, actually creating simple structures is a lot easier than creating complex ones. It always happens the same way. You appoint an independent committee of experts, they come up with a simpler framework of goals and guiding principles that give people room to use their common sense. That's actually not hard. The hard part is dislodging the status quo. But all those people in Washington have a vested interest in the way things work now. All of them. And so that's where you come in. We have to create a movement that says, give us back the freedom to do what's right. Create laws that give us goals and principles, but don't give us 1,000-page rule books that we can't understand. Give us things that allow us to use our common sense, and America can start to work again. Government can too. Together, we can make it happen.